You're listening to the Hope Not Nope podcast
with Doc Dylan
and Brandy.
We empower high performers with a 3-part strategy of hope,
Self-agency, goals, and proven frameworks
so that you can reach your potential
and the highest quality of life. How's it going, y'all? Thanks so much for tuning in. Yep. We're saying y'all today.
Right.
Okay, before we start, what are all the ways you can say collective group of people? Y'all, yous, you guys.
Mm-hmm.
What else?
I think that hits it.
A lot of Italians I know.
Comrades.
Fellow comrades. Y'all, yins.
Yins.
Yins is a Pittsburgh thing. Anyways, how's it going, y'all? Yins, you guys, yous. Thanks for being here. This is the Hope Not Know podcast, and we're so grateful that you have taken the time to listen, and hopefully this episode will bring you some joy and can also be applicable for you and your summer, potentially, if you're going through what this episode suggests. So, Rocco says, summer is coming. Woo woo, summer. And I want to be active with my kids in the backyard while the weather is nice. Yes. However, can I throw a football with my son if I have a torn rotator cuff?
I think Rocco would use.
I
I'm gonna
agree.
go play with use guys.
Use guys. Use guys.
Use guys.
Yeah, I feel like Rocco would say use. But what do you have to say about this torn rotator cuff situation?
As you can imagine, the answer is layered.
Yes, naturally.
Right? Like there's more context that's needed for this because it is a torn rotator cuff that has been repaired. Like, are you in an arm sling? At what point of sports rehab are you in? Is it something that you were told back a while ago is torn, but it's been like 15 years or 20 years? Is it something that's like kind of newer, but there wasn't a mechanism of injury and you had some shoulder discomfort, so you went and got an image, and the image shown that there's a small tear of the supraspinatus. So now that's kind of like forefront of your brain of that this thing is there. So can I actually throw a football, or is it going to damage it more? And if I damage it more, then do I need to go have surgery? So it's a very complex thing. And Brandy, maybe you can lead us down, like what pathway do we want to go with it? I kind of have an assumption of what pathway it would be, but I don't know if one kind of...
Yeah, honestly, I feel like if you're asking this question, there's the reality that you know it's torn. So it's not just this like idea of like, is my shoulder, is my rotator cuff torn? And you're probably like opting out of a surgery is kind of my assumption. Cause like, if you have a torn rotator cuff and you're asking if you can throw a football, you're either like, yeah, I just feel like you're opting out of the surgery.
Okay.
Because I don't feel like if you're going through physical therapy because you already had the surgery, if you chose to get the surgery, you wouldn't consider it torn anymore.
Right.
But he's kind of saying it as like, it's torn. Can I still throw a football?
Very well done. So we'll go down that.
Got your back.
That pathway. So the answer is yes.
Ooh, okay.
But the answer could also be no.
Aww.
But I like the yes answer more.
Yeah.
Because traditionally it used to be that you had discomfort, you got an image, whatever the image showed is the answer. You have pain because this thing that's happening right here. And then researchers started saying, well, is that always the case? Like, what happens if we take people that are asymptomatic and we do an image? And what they end up finding is that more people have an asymptomatic torn whatever in their body than they do have a symptomatic one.
Meaning they're not experiencing symptoms, aka like pain or discoloration or swelling or whatever.
They never would have known that there was a tear in their body had it not a picture been taken.
Wow. Okay.
Because they have full function, they don't have any disability, they don't have discomfort, they don't have pain. Which people listening might be like, what? Like how does that happen? Like that can't be true. And it's because the body has an incredible way to heal itself and an incredible way to stay adaptable and resilient, given that it is giving the stressor that you are going to be completing. So what ends up happening, kind of calling out the dads here and the uncles, that the likelihood is the last time you threw a football was last summer.
Yeah.
And between last summer and now this upcoming summer, you probably haven't thrown a football. Maybe you're working out, like benefit of the doubt. Let's say like you've trained, like you've worked
Mhm.
out. Well, how much power activity have you done with your shoulder? Because doing these little band exercises, yes, there's a time and place they can be helpful. But throwing a football is a bit different or higher level of a force than what that little band is going to do for you doing an external rotation.
Especially if you're slinging it in the backyard with your kids who's probably like running routes and being like, Dad, throw it as far as you can,
Yeah.
like it's not,
And like you're not going to try to launch it 30, 40 yards.
yeah, we know how you are,
Yeah.
dads.
Yeah. Like, yeah, let me show you. I still got the cannon.
Hmm.
Watch this. So like you're going to do it, but like you have to prepare for it. So like how do you prepare for it? Well, you have to do some type of throwing prior to going out and launching these passes. It could be med ball throws, med ball slams. That's a good bridge to it. And then when you get out there, kind of like I know your kid's gonna want to keep playing, but like limit yourself. Like
Hmm.
I know when our nieces and nephews were younger, the way I would limit it is I would just like joke around of like, hey, let's throw with our left arm.
Hmm.
Really what's happening. I was like, yeah, I'm starting to feel my right shoulder a little bit. It's talking to me. I'm going to switch to my left side. And it's kind of funny that we're trying to throw with our non-dominant hand, but I'm giving my right shoulder a rest break
Hmm.
before coming back to back to it.
Right. Or if it's like baseball, like start giving them grounders and
Hmm.
just like start rolling it like underhand because that's
Yeah.
like a different
Yeah.
movement, different force.
Yeah. And like, hey, onside kick.
Hmm.
Like, or let's get out the kicking tee and punt. Like every kid loves just booting a ball and
Right.
seeing where it's gonna go. So like that's a good way to give your arm a break to then build up the load to be able to do it. But I think so often we're so quick to blame a specific movement and not look at our prep.
Hmm.
We go, yeah, throwing the football all those years, tore my rotator cuff.
Yeah.
That one time I got tackled, that blew out my back. That one cut, my knee's gone, and all these things. And it's like, look, it's not that that moment happened, but it wasn't that just that created it.
Hmm.
What was going on in your life? What was your internal load? How many stressors did you have? How well were you adapting? What was your nutrition? What was your sleep? Were you prepared physically for the thing that you're asking your body to do?
Hmm.
A lot of people are like, well, throwing a football is like a simple activity. From a physiological standpoint, it is not. It is not easy to do that. Take someone who's never thrown a football before, put a football on their hand, and very quickly you'll see how complex of an activity it is.
Hmm.
And not just from a mechanic standpoint, but from a force production standpoint of what is needed. Not that most of the time people aren't using their legs and their lower body to help throw it. They're just using all their arm to do it. So now it becomes even more force on the rotator cuff. And then looking at the job of the rotator cuff, its job is to help decelerate that throwing motion. So you cock back and you throw it, and now the rotator cuff has to eccentrically contract to decelerate the arm from the throwing motion that happened. The harder that you're throwing it, the further that you're throwing it, the more you rely on your shoulder, the more responsibility it has to act as a decelerator of the shoulder.
Hmm.
Have you trained for it to do that?
Yeah.
And when I talk with most dads and uncles, people like most of the time this happens at conferences,
Mm.
like people at lunch or whatever, they'll go, hey, I got a quick question for you.
Yeah.
Like I tore my rotator cuff. Can I still go throw the football with my son? Like, yeah, I got some follow-up questions before I just like, yeah, dude, go whip it around. Go throw it
Yeah.
a quarter mile like Uncle Rico
Yeah. Uncle
and
Rico.
Napoleon Dynamite. But like no, we got to talk. Like, have you prepared for it?
Hmm.
And then to the other side of this, like, if you had discomfort, what brought on that discomfort? What led you to go getting the image? If you're doing things and those symptoms are going away, well, conservative management is being successful. So, like, keep training and go to that. And, like, yeah, you'll be able to throw with a
Hmm.
torn rotator cuff. There's research that we talk about in the book from Dr. James Andrews, who's found that over 90% of MLB pitchers had some abnormality, quote unquote, abnormality in their shoulder, whether it was a torn cuff or labrum, but were asymptomatic and able to throw 90-mile-an-hour fastballs over and over and over again.
Wow.
They look at NHL players' shoulders, not a throwing motion, but a lot of contact.
Hmm.
Same thing. They found that over 80 or 90% had things going on with their AC joint, with their labrum, with their rotator cuff, no symptoms, able to do their sport, no pain, no dysfunction.
Hmm.
So yeah, you can have these structural things that show up on a picture and still functionally be able to do the activity at hand.
Hmm.
Things that get in the way of that is doubt. and not training to be able to do that activity.
Yeah, it sounds like it literally is common sense, but it's not common for people to be sensible with it.
Yeah,
But like you need to build up capacity to do what is being asked of you.
right.
And like that's just simple basic load management. And the reality is most of the time you were not taught this as a teenager or a kid in sports because half the time you probably had volunteer coaches that didn't know anything about it.
Yeah.
No offense, at least that's how I was raised. Most of my coaches were just volunteer coaches and like they didn't know what the heck was going on. Now that I look back, I'm like, golly. But anyways, like you may have never been taught this. So if this is the first time you're hearing it, load management is real and necessary to remain like injury and pain free when
Yeah.
it comes to a physical demand that you are asking your body to complete.
Yeah. Load management is not about keeping you out of a sport.
Mm-hmm.
It's about keeping you in a sport.
Yeah.
It's about looking at the true injury risk and saying, if you did this right now, you're going to get more injured and not be able to play the next game. Because I know a lot of people, especially in the basketball space, are like, load management, stupid. It gets in the way
Really?
of games. Like people are paying tickets to go see this and that. And it's like, most of the time, unless the team's tanking,
Mm-hmm.
they're not sitting out just to like sit out because load management told them to. Like load management is saying, hey, we're going to need you in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
And if you play on this, there's a high likelihood that you're going to be out for the rest of the season. So is it worth playing this game right now to then inhibit the team's success in the playoffs? Most of the time that answer is no.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it is yes, like Tyrese Halliburton. That answer was yes. Like
Mm-hmm.
you're in the playoffs, you're in the championship. Like, yeah, go see what can happen, go what you can do. And he said, yeah, I want to take that risk
And then you saw what
because of that
happened.
time of the season that it was at. So load management from a general perspective of throwing a football, like the load managed science has shown us that if you double the workload, there increases the likelihood about 20% that an injury could happen. Not saying that it's going to happen, but 20%. There's 80% chance that it won't
Yeah.
happen.
So that's cool.
The more that you increase that workload, the more the probability becomes that you're going to have a soft tissue injury versus not having one.
Mm-hmm.
So in the past 6 months, if you've thrown the football 0 times and you go and throw it 10 times, you have increased the workload
Mm-hmm.
on your cuff, decelerating that motion tenfold.
Mm-hmm.
But the cool thing is that the body can do that.
Yeah.
Like you can go throw it 10 times and likely be okay. But the point of this is kind of take note of like at what throw do you start feeling your shoulder get sore? Once it starts to get sore, that's a good time to start working on some kicking.
Mm-hmm.
Start throwing with your other arm. Like got that shoulder rest. It's saying, hey, I've been strained enough today. Stop doing that. And if we strain it enough and then let it recover, it's going to become more resilient. It's going to get stronger. It's going to adapt. If we push too far into that strain, well, there is potential that that tear can worsen. There's potential that it can become more symptomatic. There's potential that conservative measures haven't been successful, all because of the workload management was inappropriate.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not this like, hey, daddy's got to go sit out because of load management.
Mm-hmm.
It's just kind of like your shoulders barking at you, like kind of listen to it.
Yeah.
Also, with load management, there's a reason there's a route tree.
Mm-hmm.
There's a reason that quarterbacks throw slants first, out pattern second, and then the deep ball last.
Mm-hmm.
All of that is to warm up the shoulder appropriately for what's happening. So don't get the ball and whip a 30-yard pass to start off with. Like
Yeah.
start out very shallow and then work your way further as your shoulder gets warmed up and your body is getting used to that motion again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think that's all I got on it. We cover it.
I think we covered it. I also just want to say like for Rocco and for other parents similarly, there I just think it's safe to say like there's other ways that you can play with your kid other than throwing a football. And obviously like football's the greatest of all time, but going for walks, going for runs, going to a playground, depending on the age of the kid, kicking a soccer ball, like there's other movements other than just throwing a football that you can play with your kid where you don't have to say like well, I just threw 10 times and that's enough for me, so I'm going to go on the couch. Like speaking from a kid's perspective, although I'm not a child, but I did have parents like obviously everyone has parents mostly. Like I would have valued my parents staying out with me longer,
Mm-hmm.
just like switching up the sport you know, if they could have.
Yeah. Can I backtrack just a little bit?
Sure.
Because the other thing that we can talk about before the pigskin gets put away, because
Hmm.
my goal is to keep the pigskin out there.
I know we love football.
But, or another thing that you can do is also, Rocco, as the dad, you don't have to be the quarterback. Like,
True.
oftentimes, you take that quarterback role so that you don't have to run routes.
Yeah, that's fair.
So the kiddos running around, their siblings are guarding them and they're like getting all the activity in, and you're standing there and you get to throw. Well, if you want to protect your shoulder a little bit, let one of them be the quarterback. You
Yeah.
go run routes or play defense.
That's an even better idea. I didn't even think of that.
Now you're getting steps in, you're getting activity.
Hmm.
Load management still applies. If you haven't sprinted in like 10 years, don't go 100% on your routes. You
Don't
should
go
probably go
pull a hammy.
50%. Use your size,
Yeah.
things like that. But then also the other thing I'll add in is, if you have the ability to have different sizes of football,
Mm.
take that into account. That if your children are younger and you're using a bigger football, they're not going to be able to go as far.
Hmm.
Or if they do go as far, they have to run it back to you because they can't throw it as far.
Right. Yeah.
If you have a smaller football, again, you're going to be able to throw it further distances with less force, but you're going to see that football and go, I can launch this thing 70 yards.
Hmm.
Like,
Those little
watch
like
me,
Nerf footballs.
yeah, like
Yeah.
step back and launch this thing. So, like, one, fight that temptation until you've built up the ability to
Hmm.
do that. But just another thing to consider with load management, other than going to tight end or receiver, is the different size of football can give you different forces on the shoulder at
Hmm.
a different point. Like a bigger football, it's going to be more force, but it's going to be less distance
Hmm.
that you can throw that. A lighter one might be ideal to like start with,
Yeah.
as long as you're not launching it 70 yards to
Right.
begin with. Like start with a smaller football, go like 10 yards, 20 yards. Okay, that's good for this weekend. Next weekend we'll get it out a little bit further. It doesn't mean that you're soft. It doesn't mean you're a wuss. You're actually teaching your kids something very important, that if they're going to be athletes, they're going to have to learn at some point or another
Hmm.
of these load management principles.
Yeah.
So,
The last thing I want to say is fight the temptation to get into the mode of I'm just going to sit on the couch and not play with my kids, but then also fight the temptation of getting in the mode of like, well, I'm just going to suck it up because that's when like legit painful injuries will occur and like that's not helpful for you or your kid and we'd rather you not be injured and we'd rather you be able to play with your kids. And so
yeah.
like I don't know, I just feel like people can have the temptation of I'm just going to suck it up
Yeah.
or I'm just going to go sit on the couch. I can't handle this anymore. And it's like no, there's really like there's options out here, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And if you're really like done, like your shoulder's sore, you ran routes, your legs are sore, and they still want to play, like Brandon said, you could switch up the sport or step into that referee role.
hmm.
Like, hey, I want you guys to play one on one.
Yeah.
I'm gonna sit here and call it for you. Like you can still stay involved.
Yeah,
So
I love it.
yeah.
Tell us your hope story, Dr. Dylan.
All right. So it's a kind of a two-part hope story. And I'm realizing a lot of our hope stories are our niece and nephews, but it's just the phase of life
Oh, I love it.
that we're
Yeah.
in, and like a lot of hope in
Hmm. You
this.
talk about our niece and nephews. I talk about the weather a lot.
Yeah.
So there's that.
Yeah. And I feel like we talk about our nephews a lot. I want to talk about that, but I also want to hope story of my niece that academically she's just improved a lot. And she wrote a paper, got a 100 on it. And my dad, her grandfather, her papa, like took her out to dinner to like celebrate that. So it was just really cool to
Yeah.
like see her like stepping into that and improving her grades and developing these habits that are good habits
Hmm.
to have. So that's one hope story, and shout out to her because like yeah, I give credit where credit's due, and credit is definitely due there.
Hmm.
Second one, my art nephew is in the dog days of high school baseball.
Mm.
And you might be saying, what do you mean the dog days of high school baseball? Because the dog days refer to summer baseball in a long season where it starts to get really warm and the games can be somewhat meaningless if you're not going to playoffs, but you still need to grind and be out there, like the dog days of MLB baseball.
Hmm.
Well, the dog days of high school baseball in upstate New York is this stretch from March until April
Mm.
where you're practicing inside of a gym because the fields are still covered in snow, and then it's muddy. And then the times that you do get outside, it's like 40 or 50 degrees and you're using an aluminum bat, crushes your hands. Every ball you catch, like, hurts because the leather's cold.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like the dog days of baseball in upstate New York are actually at the beginning of the season versus the end of the season. But last week, the game that he was supposed to have, like all games at this point of the year, happened is that it was canceled because the field is covered in snow or mud or not playable. So I offered to him, hey, you can come work out, or you can just take the night off. And he messaged back and said, I'm not waiting to get better. I'll be over there tonight. And I was like, ooh,
let's go.
Like, that's how you attack a goal.
Yeah.
Of like, yeah, I could wait till tomorrow, but why wait till tomorrow when I can do it today?
Yeah.
So that was my hope story.
That's awesome.
Now you're probably fired up. Don't go launch a 70-yard touchdown pass out there, Rocco. Like, everything else we said is true.
Right.
Don't get all fired up and go out there and whip that thing.
Or do it, but know the repercussions.
Yeah.
Or the consequences.
Yes.
That's awesome. I love those hope stories.
Yeah, so Rocco, thank you for that question. Hopefully you have a great summer of whipping that football around appropriately.
Yes.
Load management, all the things that we talked about. Thank you for listening. Thank you for the questions. Thank you everyone for being part of this community. I feel like it's the like summer kickoff.
Yeah,
episode.
It really is. Summer kickoff episode. Also just like so thankful to have the community of people that listen and are part of this and like inspire us with these different questions, and the way that we're able to share our perspective and help people along their journey is just so much fun. Yeah. So love it.
So thank you for being part of it.
Yeah.
Have a great week. And remember, high performance isn't just about the strategy of hope. It's about becoming hope.
Thank you for listening to the Hope Not Nope podcast. Please subscribe and share this episode. This podcast is for educational and personal development purposes only and is not considered health or medical advice. For personalized support, connect with a Hope Coach at hopenotnope.org.